ask you for just a moment to remain standing, just to meditate a little bit on that story. Please be seated. It was a hot day in that nation, that place called Samaria. And a Samaritan woman comes to the community well in order to draw water. And her surprise was a man sitting there by himself. It is noon, and he asks for a drink of water from what's known as Jacob's well. The woman is quite shocked. This is a Jewish man, and he's by himself. There is a cultural and religious divide here. Jews and Samaritans in that day did not get along. The divide between them was quite wide. As the woman says, "How is it that you, a Jew, ask a drink of me, a woman of Samaria?" Not to mention that in that era, women did not associate with strange men. On this hot day, neither Jesus or the woman seemed to be bothered by these cultural taboos. Jesus responds by saying, if you knew who you were talking to, I would respond by giving you living water. Well, she is slow to understand. So she replies that you don't even have a cup. And this is a deep well. Jesus, of course, is not talking about physical water, but rather spiritual water that will later lead her to what is known as eternal life. And she quickly realizes there's something mystical about this man. Jesus then changes the subject. Go, call your husband and then come back. And she then confesses to him that, well, she has no husband. And Jesus tells her that he's aware of that and that she has had 5 husbands. And now she has a living. Now she begins to understand. He is indeed a prophet, but of what religion? Samaritans lived on a mountain called Mount Gerizim. And the Jews lived in Jerusalem. And that's, of course, where they worship. But Jesus tells her that this doesn't make any difference at all. Because God rises above all religions. Let me say that again. I think that's always worth remembering. God rises above all religions. Jesus tells her that God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. At that point, Jesus tells her that he is the Messiah, otherwise known as the Christ, that both Samaritans and Jews have long awaited. Then the disciples arrived. They're just as shocked as the woman was. Here he is talking to a strange woman. And they were in Samaria. They were astounded, but they knew that he was doing something different. That was the nature of his ministry. Meanwhile, the woman left behind her jar and went back to her community to gather others to bring her there. She told them that she came across a true prophet. They followed her back to the well. It was a come-and-see experience, and they convinced Jesus to stay with them for 2 days so that they can learn what this prophet has to say. In the story, Jesus offers them and us an enlightened vision. God God's intention is to overcome walls and divisions that people build around each other. He tells them men and women have equal self-worth, that Jews and Samaritans need to get over their religious differences. And that's, of course, a lesson for us as well. God offers us divine grace if we can get over our racial differences, our ethnic differences, our sexual differences, and even the national barriers that draw us apart. This certainly speaks to our world today that we live in, as people not only are divided, but seem to be relishing in their divisiveness. They feel good about it. Terrible thing to have to live with. Through this story, as Jesus spoke to the Samaritans, so he kindly and quietly speaks to us as well. Not with doctrinal threats or condemnation, but with quiet and gentle love. That's what Jesus was all about. One of my favorite lines that I've used in sermons all over, because it really influenced my life a lot. And it's a line that was spoken back in 1992. Many of you remember the Rodney King event. And Rodney King was a black man who lived in Los Angeles, who somehow got beaten by the police, and the community became an uprising. Riots that Los Angeles had never seen before, and really hasn't seen since, took place. And when it was all said and done, a lot of division, a lot of hard feelings, a lot of questioning of people. When it was all said and done, Rodney King got interviewed on a TV show. And he proclaimed a line that I will never forget. He said it twice. He said, "What do you make of all this?" And his only thing he said was, "Can we all get along? Can we all get along?" In that wisdom rests the story that you heard of the Samaritan woman and Jesus. When divisions prevail, our job is to seek greater power, the water of Jesus, that water that will lead us all